John and Jimmy from the Strumbellas joining us here in studio. Well, first things first, welcome.
Welcome.
Great to have you here.
Good morning.
Nice to be here.
And how are you guys feeling this morning?
Did
you
we
guys,
go out last night?
You guys played last night in Atlanta, right?
Last night in Atlanta,
Yeah.
our bus rolled into town an hour-ish ago, hour and a half ago. So,
Hey, that's great timing, guys.
Just kind of rolled off of it on into your guys' building, so
Really?
Yeah.
it's good to be here. Yeah,
Yeah, it's great to have you here in the studio, and of course the show coming up tonight out at the Basement East. You can get tickets at thebasementnashville.com. Another local act, great local act, certainly so, who's actually our local artist of the week this week, is opening the show. Are they doing a bunch of dates with you guys, or?
yeah, right up to the 24th. I think. I'm not too sure of the exact
more
time.
or less the
but
first half. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe a bit more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, they're great though. They're awesome.
Yeah.
So,
killer players.
So how have the shows been going?
Just great so far. Yeah, like a couple sellouts. Great crowd reaction. Like it's obviously been a while since we've been down at the States. So like, what with all that small thing called COVID happening,
Yeah, it's my first pandemic too.
A
So,
little bit familiar with that.
yeah. So no, it's great. Like people singing along and like it's all the things we want. And no, it's been great.
That's awesome. And the new album out now, right? Part-Time Believer.
Yeah.
Pick that up if you don't already have it. I was actually reading a little bit, and as we have artists come through the studio, again, we all went through the pandemic on some levels, but I was hoping you guys would kind of talk about your experience during the pandemic, because it really sounds like a time that, well, I mean, everything stopped for a while, but it sounds like you guys really leaned
going.
into
Kept
like
strumming.
writing and refining certain songs to the point where you had this many songs and you had to actually narrow it down to have an album's worth. So tell us a little bit about that experience and what that was like going through that together, and how you feel about the finished product that's out in the world.
Yeah, it was good. It was one of those that we just kept pushing through and jumping into different sessions and stuff like that, and just having it where each day we were like, let's write the best song we can today, and like eating a lot of Uber Eats at the time as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not
we, had,
sponsored.
we had like a little studio on the west end of Toronto. Very small, dingy little downstairs basement unit, like cement
Beautiful.
walls, no windows, and we just spent
Slightly
like
illegal, but-
all right, I guess this is our bubble, and I guess we're just like mostly sitting down here and writing tunes, and like leaned into the Zoom too, right? Like it just kind of opened that up. Like you can suddenly you could be writing with writers in LA or Nashville or whatever, like
Right.
because everyone embraced it. So it was kind of on one hand really horrible and awful, but like it also sort of led to all these different sort of innovations, and like again gave us the opportunity to like write with people we probably would have had to like book a flight and like come before. So that was kind of interesting.
I enjoyed the whole zooming. I'm also a writer, and so like I work a lot with overseas, and so even the time change. Of course, I wanted to be there because there's something about being in the essence of presence, but like being able to zoom and knowing this person or kind of vibing them with this digital thing, it kind of opened up like the possibilities with like exactly what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, now you've got the TikToks that kind of blew up. So I'm sure that's been so fun having people sing your music, like the new songs. It's like, you know my baby.
It's surreal. And they're getting the lyrics like more right than I am on stage, and I'm like, wait, stop that right now.
especially
I love that too. I always wonder that too. When your front man's up there and it's like, you sing it. It's like, I wonder if he forgot the lyrics.
That's the dead giveaway is that
You got this, I promise.
I've had it. It's great.
or like voice is a bit sore. You're just like, hey, everyone sing
Yeah,
the chorus.
yeah.
Like,
That high
Your
note.
turn. Yeah, right. Getting some inside baseball from John and Jimmy here from the Strumbellas. Again, they got a show coming up tonight out at the Basement East. You guys up for playing a song
Yes,
or two
please.
for us?
Yeah,
Awesome. What you want to play
we'll
first?
play Hold Me.
All right, here's Hold Me by John and Jimmy of the Strumbellas, live in the Volume.com studio on Lightning 100.
1, 2, 3.
One day it'll all make sense when the love is gone and the money spent. One day when we feel again, count the lines on my face, remember when. So we'll stand while the heavens fall. For your love I'd risk it all. Ain't nothing out there to make us so. Won't you give me shelter to save our souls? So hold me, I don't wanna be lonely. Wish somebody told me things are not as they seem. Guide us from the shadows that hide us. Leave your worries behind us. Find a room with love. The world is a scary place. Feels like home, but I've moved away. And the week crumbles into the night. I wake up wondering if I'm alright. So stand while the heavens fall. For your love I'd risk it all. Ain't nothing out there to make us so. Won't you give me shelter to save our souls? So hold me, I don't wanna be lonely. Wish somebody told me things are not as they seem. Guide us from the shadows that hide us. Leave your worries behind us. Find a room with love. Don't let me down, don't let me down. 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 So hold me, I don't wanna be lonely. Wishing somebody told me things are not as they seem. Guide us from the shadows that hide us. Leave your worries behind us. Find a room with love. So hold me, I don't wanna be lonely. Wishing somebody told me things are not as they seem. Guide us from the shadows that hide us. Leave your worries behind us. Find a room with love.
Yeah, Strumbellas.
That's right. John and Jimmy from the Strumbellas joining us here in the Volume.com studio in advance of the show tonight out at the Basement East. Going to be a great one. Grab your tickets at thebasementnashville.com. Fantastic rendition. I mean, that's what they sound like when they roll off the bus after driving all night from Atlanta.
Rolled out to Lightning 100.
I mean, they might
love it.
They might actually sneak a nap in today, so you know it's going to be fire tonight at the Basement East.
Fingers crossed. You can't see it on radio. But.
So that song, and beautiful rendition of that song, a little bit different than the version that's on the album, which I was actually reading a little bit that the album version is actually very different from the demo version. So kind of continuing the chat about, you know, that pandemic time and having that downtime, and we really didn't have FOMO then, right? Because we knew that there wasn't much happening, so we didn't have to worry about missing out on things. It was just making the most of the time. So did you have that chance to really lean into some of the songs? Like when you narrowed it down from, what was it, like over 50 songs down to the 12 that made the album? Was that what was that process like? And then once you determined the 12, did you kind of lean into those individually to kind of give a different feel, maybe different from the demo, like that song?
Yeah, like it was like a lot of like chatting and discussing, and like, you know, like you'd write a song last week, so like it might rise to the top because you're like pumped about it,
Right?
And then sort of like, again, we just had so much time to just keep writing, and like, so that we had 50, like they were at various stages. Like some had lots of production, some were just like a guitar and vocal, you know.
Right.
So it's like a lot of just kind of like refining it and sort of what, you know, and then when the producer gets involved, that's really, I think, where like then they're also sort of involved in the conversation too of like, here's the 6 we want
A new
do.
paintbrush, a new color.
Yeah, and then like, you know, there's a lot of us, like we call it herding cats, sort of like there's a lot of opinions. So like the producer is good to bring in and then sort of be like, fashion us in one direction.
Right.
And so Ben Allen had done 6 of those songs. He's based in Atlanta, and he was a real songsmith. I mean, all the producers on the album are great, but like he really had a vision, just sort of like, this one we're gonna like strip this stuff out, and like here's the core of the song, and we'll build from here up, and that's sort of how we did it.
That's so fun to see. Like, I mean, it's kind of, obviously it's the before and after. So you get to kind of be like, oh, I thought this was what it was going to be, but it's so much more better.
And with a lot of it too, like you sort of can't get too hung up on like, I think if you strip it down to its core and it's like just the chords and a melody, then it's a great song. That's what, like, you can't get too hung up, I think, on the production. There might be like a cool sound you got or whatever you're really hung up on, but like that might not be the song, or like that might not stay in the final version. Like if the producer's like, I actually envision it this way, and so like I think really stripping it all back and worrying less about what you've added on it, like beyond the melody and the chords, is like sort of a good lesson.
Get to the root of the song. Yeah. I'm curious to know what's happening with those other 38 songs.
They'll come back to life at some point.
Stay tuned, right?
Yeah. I know. I'm like, we're doing a Patreon. Are we gonna do something like? You'll get a secret song.
I think a bunch of them will see the light of day because, like, this album, like Holster was based on a demo, the chorus that I think is like 10 years old, maybe. So like we always go back and sort of go like, oh yeah, what about this one? Like, so I think they'll.
I like that.
And I can only imagine that it's invaluable to have producers that you work with that you trust. In that sense of, because sometimes, and I've had a lot of artists say that it's like all of a sudden you're just like out there in the wild. You're like, I've got this idea, I've got that idea. Well, we should sequence it this way. And it's probably great to have that kind of that calming force or that organizing force to just like, guys, let's bring it together here. Let's keep it on track.
It's like a good wine.
Yeah, that's right. Well, so kind of a follow up to that. Was there any argument about the sequencing? Because I know that can be
that was actually
a point of contention
for us. It was one of those that I think, was it Dave or yourself that came up?
It definitely wasn't me.
I think it may have been. I think
so maybe Dave,
our keys player, may have just like came up with like, what do you guys think of this? And like, we were like, that feels good. That feels really nice. And just kind of went with it from there.
Yeah, I think, I was like, that's a good sequence for the album. Like, track 1 through 12, that's a good
Got
order
my
for
vote.
me. Like,
good job. We trust you. Amen. Let's go.
Yeah, right. Let's keep moving, folks. Yeah.
Yes.
But no, we've got John and Jimmy again from the Strumbellas. They're here in the studio. They just got to town. Played Atlanta last night. They're playing the Basement East tonight. There are still tickets available. Grab yours at thebasementnashville.com. And again, our local artist of the week here on Lightning 100 this week, Certainly So, is opening the show. Starts at 8 o'clock tonight. They just played, was Hold Me, right, from the new album. Guys going to play another one from the new album, or do you want to play one that maybe we've been playing for a while?
Yeah, I think we'll play a song you may have heard.
All right. We're not even going to tell you what it is, but if you listen to Lightning 100, I know you're going to recognize this live version of the Strumbellas here on the Volume.com
I need help
studio.
With this one, so if you're in the car, sing along as loud as possible.
Yes.
1, 2.
I got guns in my head and they won't go. Spirits in my head and they won't go. I got guns in my head and they won't go. Spirits in my head and they won't. I've been looking at the stars tonight, and I think, oh, how I miss that bright sun. I'll be a dreamer till the day I die. But they say, oh, how the good die young. But we're all strange, and maybe we don't want to change. I got guns in my head and they won't go. Spirits in my head and they won't go. I got guns in my head and they won't go. Spirits in my head and they won't go. But the gun still rattles, the gun still rattles, oh. I got guns in my head and they won't go. Spirits in my head and they won't go. I spent a lot of nights on the road, and I think, oh, like I'm lost and can't be found. I'm just waiting for my day to come, and I think, oh, I don't want to let you down. But something inside has changed, and maybe we don't want to stay the same. I got guns in my head and they won't go. Spirits in my head and they won't go. I got guns in my head and they won't go. Spirits in my head and they won't go. But the gun still rattles, the gun still rattles, oh. But the gun still rattles, the gun still rattles, oh. And I don't want a never-ending life. I just wanna be alive while I'm here. And I don't want to never-ending life. I just wanna be alive while I'm here. And I don't want to see another night lost inside a lonely life while I'm here. I got guns in my head and they won't go. Spirits in my head and they won't go. I got guns in my head and they won't go. Spirits in my head and they won't go. But the ghost still riders, the ghost still riders, oh. But the ghost still riders, the ghost still riders, oh.
Yeah, Lightning 100. We've got the Strumbellas in the studio. If you don't know that song,
I knew folks were going to know that song. I'm sure there are people all over Nashville singing along, and I'm
in
actually
Berlin.
yeah, right.
we've got a Berlin listener right now.
Go. And I'm glad that you specified people in their cars, because every now and then Lisa and I will have the
Yeah, I'll
desire
go
to
off,
start
but
doing some gang vocals, but
I'll back away.
we wouldn't do
Oh,
that.
you guys
to
could have helped out. For sure. I needed it. I needed
Like,
it.
dang it.
It's quite early.
Yes, but sounding great. Again, we've got John and Jimmy from the Strumbellas. They're on tour in support of the brand new album, which came out back in February, Part-Time Believer. They're playing the Basement East tonight in Nashville, thebasementnashville.com to get your tickets. And it looks like you guys got a bunch more dates coming up here in the spring and summer, huh?
We do.
We do. I think we're like
Wow,
a week into like about a 5-week tour. So
Yeah, so if maybe you're streaming us from outside the Nashville area, or if you're going to be in places like Austin, Fort Worth, Houston,
Los
Phoenix,
Angeles.
heading to LA later this month as well, playing the Independent in San Francisco. Great room. Have you guys played that before?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But
Well, get ready to have
sometimes
a
I show
great
up and I'm
time.
like, have I been here before? I don't really remember.
Was I playing or someone else? I can't remember.
But lots of chances to see the Strumbellas. So follow along. Head over to their website, thestrumbellas.ca. And again, if you're here in Nashville, get your tickets for tonight's show at thebasementnashville.com. Guys, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
having
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know it
Gave you a follow.
kind of came together at the last minute, but so glad that it worked out and that the bus got here on time and everything. So,
Yeah.
but welcome back to Nashville. So good to have you here. Looking forward to the show tonight out at the Basement East.
Thank you.
Thanks
so much.
again, John and Jimmy from the Strumbellas, joining us here on Lightning in the Morning. We'll take a quick time out, come back with some music from Duran Jones here